a Wild Wednesday, crazy Wild Wednesday. It's a news happening, news breaking, sound biting Wild Wednesday on the Jeff Dubay Show. We are at Burger Mo's, where we have been for not the entirety of the show, but for the foreseeable future of the show, thankfully. Love to be here at Burger Mo's, West 7th, the shadow of the XL Energy Center, even though it's, yes, I get it, Tony, we're on the wrong side of the sun's down. Which one of you, was it you, Scott? One of you two corrected me on that. When I just tried to use the old saying, we're in the shadow of the XL Energy Center. What do you guys say?
That sounds like a Schweitz thing to do.
That wasn't me. I don't think that was
Well,
me.
when you guys went anal on the bit and then said, oh, well, if it was a different time of day and we were on the other side of the ring,
That actually might have been me. That actually sounded like something I'd say.
Actually,
Nice. Lots of false accusations to start out tonight. I like it.
Well, you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of finger pointing going on inside the Wild locker room, too, not just over here at Burger Mo's.
If I had a stick, I'd be slamming it somewhere.
Making an angry, tough face.
I mean, we've got a ton to get to, a lot to talk about. We got some Vanek rumors swirling out of the nation's capital, where there could be some interest in the Wild winger. But first, we're going to start it off right at the top of the show here with controversy at Wild practice today. The audio coming courtesy of KSTP.com and our good friend Darren Doogie Wolfson, who is at practice today. Guys, a little bit of a meltdown on the ice. We've got the audio. Let's play it first, and we'll react to it after.
The way we respond to a loss. Practice like this. Up. We up. Bull. Guys not ready to go. What, you think we don't need practice? We can hang our heads, but we're not where we're supposed to be. That's a loser's attitude. Hang your head if you make excuses. It's a loser's attitude. You point fingers. Where do you dig in and work? Where the are we right now? Where are the standings? What did do? Who are we? What do we ever done? We got to give our heads a shake. We're not good enough to not come and have good practices. We're definitely not good enough to hang our heads, feel sorry for ourselves, and make excuses. Yeah, we did some good things last game, but we got to be better tomorrow. That's our attitude. Full stretch.
Wait for it.
What's coming up?
But he just broke his stick and then he threw
and
it over
then
the
chucks
bench.
it,
And you
chucks
do
it.
hear it. It's great.
Yeah, that was a tirade at practice today. Basically, I mean, a lot of
Whoa,
bleeps.
whoa, whoa. All right. We
Listen,
got it. Thank you.
The bleeps just don't stop. They just
No,
keep on
it just
coming.
kept going.
I mean, basically, it was, this is how you react to a loss. I mean, you don't think you need this practice. Who the bleep do you think you are? How do you come out here and act like this after a loss? You don't think we need this? You're hanging your heads. We're, feeling sorry for yourself. We're on the in the standings. The loser's attitude. This bleep you that. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think it's good that he reacted, but I mean, from the quotes that I read, from Thomas Vanek afterwards, it was almost like, well, yeah, he yelled at us, we deserve it, but it's not the first time I've heard it. I mean, I played for Lindy Ruff. It's like, I don't know if it drove home the type of message that he wanted it to. I hope it did, but I hope it wasn't just the players go, uh-oh, we upset you, we better have a good practice, and it didn't drive home.
I think that move right there reeks of desperation, because if you look at the moves that can be made right now, there's a lot of guys with no move clauses in their contract. There's a lot of guys that are not going to generate interest because of how much money they're making and how little they're producing. If you're Chuck Fletcher and you get the message from Craig Leopold that something needs to be done, who's going? I mean, it's gonna be Mike Yeo. It's not gonna be Mikko Koivu traded out of here. You're not gonna get anybody to take Backstrom's contract. You're not gonna put Darcy Kemper on waivers. So you have two goalies that are not getting it done. You have veteran players that Mike Yeo doesn't even take off the top power play. I mean, that move right there reeks of desperation. I'm proud of Darren Doogie Wolfson for capturing it so that we have it to play here, but that move is desperate.
I mean, in a way though, you gotta feel a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to apologize for Yo, but in a way, I mean, considering the fact that he doesn't have a lot of options personnel-wise because he does have hefty contracts, long-term contracts, there's nothing he can do, nor can Chuck Fletcher do about the goalie situation. I mean, that has to be frustrating from top to bottom that you've put yourself in this type of situation. Well, I guess Harding kind of put yourself in this situation with the fact that he had MS, you couldn't get rid of him, then he hurt his foot, can't get rid of him again. You have this goalie that you're going to have to sign eventually, and then Harding hurts his foot, and you have to sign him to a one-way deal, and you have no options because he plays enough that you can't send him down because he'll require waivers, and somebody would pick him up. We all know it. So then what are you going to do? You have an aging goaltender and a youthful goaltender that, for all purposes, should be in the AHL playing down there and developing, but he's not. And so we're not only in a tough spot this year, but we're in a tough spot next year.
This is the double-edged sword of Yo. The only reason Yo is here is because he didn't alienate his veterans. He jumped on the grenade for this team after a miserable December last year. They responded to it. They made a huge run. They made the playoffs. They made the second round. Mike Yo gets a contract extension. This year, another December collapse. Another great example of guys in elevated roles, not producing, not being taken off. Mike Yo avoiding confrontation with his veterans, and this team looks to be sinking. Because of how far they are there right now in the division, they're gonna need to go on a run as good as last year or better for them to sneak into the playoffs. And I think Yo realizes that, and it might be too little, too late.
Well, after the practice, Mike Yo met the press, and this is what he had to say about the tirade.
Well, we weren't good enough, and we're not in a position where we can come in and be, let alone decent in practice, bad in practice. So I'm not going to accept that.
What was, how heated did it get, and your reaction to leave? I mean, is that as fired up as you've ever been?
Well, I think I made my point at that time, and so that was enough.
Do you worry now that this team better respond, or you've lost them?
No. I don't. I'm not worried about that. I told you I'm not going to accept that, and so we're not going to accept guys. We played for the most part a good game last game. We lost the game. We come to the rink today. Well, what are we going to have a practice like that? That's not good enough. So I know one thing: we can hang our heads. We can feel sorry for ourselves. We can point fingers. We can do whatever we want. But those types of things are not the types of things that winners do, and those types of things do not help you get out of something like this. And I know what I'm going to control, and I'm going to make sure that I bring it.
The finger pointing, how much of today was also to just remind them that this is not just a goalie thing, that this is everybody's got to be better.
Well, that's everything that we're in right now, and I'm not, listen, we're in a difficult spot, and we got a tough road ahead of ourselves. We might have guys out of the lineup, that's fine, but the one thing that you can always control is your work ethic and your attitude, and everything else falls.
You can control.
Well, we weren't good enough.
Why do these repeat? Sorry about that.
You can control your own work ethic and attitude. Somebody should have told me this years ago. I don't know where I don't know where I'd even be today.
Coffee.
I don't go a lot for the histrionics and I understand when a coach, there comes a time when a coach has to go to the whip, and it is certainly not too early. I like when you have these long seasons, like baseball, for instance. I used to laugh at Ozzie in Chicago. Like he'd have tirades in April. And it's like, boy, you're going to the whip early, Ozzie. You're not gonna have anything for the stretch. And quite often that would be true. His teams would just be battered emotionally by just after the All-Star break and ready to make their off-season plans. But it is not too early to go to the whip. The question is, does this guy have a whip that people are going to pay any attention to? I don't know that Yo's got a voice that veterans are going to take note of. Let me put it that way. Can he command that room when he needs to?
I would say this: the problem you're having is the player that's going to be your biggest advocate and supporter that might echo in the sense of urgency is sadly home, with his father.
Yeah.
And and the fact that there's no other leader that will step up on this team aside from the one that tweaked his lower body and left the practice in a fit of rage and broke his stick. He's no leader. I mean, I don't care what people say. He's not a leader on this team, and the sooner that people realize that, the better. Because
how about Koivu now?
Correct. Well, I mean, I hope
You're
I
being very
win.
cryptic. Well, you haven't mentioned a single name in this tirade.
I mean, nobody would mistake who you're talking
I
about.
was gonna
Everybody
say-
knows it's Koivu.
Well, there comes a point. He's going to throw a
Really?
name in
I
there.
mean, come
You
on.
didn't mention preseason.
I like
either.
it. I like it. If you're gonna call guys out, you should say the name so that
Oh,
they
yeah.
know that they can look up in the stands, see you in your season tickets,
I'm
know
I'm smiling, waving.
that
And I
double
knew-
S
we
is
all
the
knew
guy.
we all knew who you're talking about. But if it sounds like you're trying to not say somebody's name,
But the fact of the matter
it
is,
makes you
I
sound
don't-
skeevy.
I don't need to say
Nice.
the name. It's basically the fact, I mean, if you're going to be a
Triple S.
leader on the team, you shouldn't need the coach to do that.
Right,
You should be upset in the fact that maybe you throw a little tirade in practice and be pissed off, but you don't. I mean, nobody cares. All the veteran leadership, aside from Parisi, just is letting this thing skate by. And I would say from the top down, Koivu, Pominville, I think have each deserved themselves a trip up to the press box this year. I think Tony thinks that Suter probably has deserved himself a little trip upstairs too, but I mean, it's not the Jason Zuckers and the Fontaines and the Niederreiters that are underperforming. They're performing at a level that they should be, if not higher. And the other middle of the road guys that are still probably considered quote unquote rookie status are maybe underwhelming in their sophomore seasons, but that shouldn't be the players that are carrying this team.
I find myself always in trouble with the Minnesota Wild and the Minnesota Wild PR staff and whoever else, because I just like to call BS and Yo is a master of tired narratives and avoidance, and the tired narrative is that it matters that you storm out. I mean, this team has been playing like garbage. They played like garbage in December. Even when they play better than other teams, they've given away games. They've melted with the lead. They've had no killer instinct. You've had power plays where there's no sense of urgency. I mean, this is not a 1 month downtime for this club. This is a club that came in with extremely high expectations. They were super proud of themselves for getting to the second round before they completely got ran out of the building by Chicago. And this was a team that was supposed to compete for a cup this year. Now, we're in January. You just had another December collapse. We have Mike Yeo storm off the ice and swear at a bunch of guys, which was fun to watch, I guess. And it was interesting because it made news for a team that's not making news. I mean, they're not relevant. And you're avoiding dealing with Mikko Koivu. You're avoiding dealing with Jason Pominville. You're avoiding being in conflict with these guys, which was made you extremely successful last year, and then this year it's not helping you. Your two best scorers don't get 4-on-4 time. They don't get overtime minutes. They don't get top power play minutes. I mean, you have guys like Scandella that deserve top power play time. Maybe you not even maybe he does deserve it over Suter, who's not taking shots. He's not being aggressive. He's playing too many minutes. I love the Stoner comments, and I wrote an article at Hockey Buzz about it, not because I think that Stoner is worth $4 million for 4 years or that Stoner was a great player here, but he's a guy on the inside that said the thing that we all know, that Ryan Suter plays too many minutes and there's nobody to call him out, and that's Yo's function as a coach, and he's not doing it.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. It's Wild Wednesday. We opened with the Wild meltdown at practice today with Mike Yeo. Played the audio, played his explanation, got into a little talk about it. We're going to come back and look at the standings and see just what it's going to take for this team to get back into this playoff race. And we're not even going to focus on the division standings. We're just going to look straight up Western Conference wildcard picture when we come back.
Hey everybody, Rusty Gatenby here. So you think you've got a bad commute? Michael Francis is a Minnesota father raising his family in Orono, but he works in California, Hollywood, California.
You know, aside from the freeze-thaw cycle, which can be weekly in the winter, it is well-coordinated calendar planning.
Michael is a top executive at DreamWorks. His boss is Steven Spielberg.
Wear creative cocktail. I happen to be wearing a vintage gown, long gown.
So is Michael.
Yeah, that's right.
Together with his wife, Britt Kyla Francis, they have helped organize a one-of-a-kind charity event at the Mall of America Sunday night.
The Golden Globes, I think, of all the award shows is always the most fun to attend because it is got great energy and it's lively and often champagne-fueled.
That's right, they're bringing the Golden Globe experience to you, and it's all to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Our daughter was treated there for brain cancer 6 years ago.
The most remarkable thing about the hospital is that it's a research center, so in real time they share all of their research and protocols with every other hospital.
It might be cold outside, but Sunday night at the Red Carpet for Hope, the Radisson Blu Hotel will be a Hollywood hot spot.
In addition to the dinner and watching the show, where there'll be a few special moments within the show for our guests.
It's a one-of-a-kind Golden Globe event. Check out the Red Carpet for Hope. For more information, check out the Rusty Gatenby Review.
Okay, last year, 2013, I lived just down the road, Pleasant Avenue, just a few blocks here from Uptown Pond, which is right on the corner of Lake and Pleasant. And, there are a couple of times, you just try to get to that next payday, maybe a couple of bucks short. If you've got some items, jewelry, diamonds, electronics, you come down here and they give you a fair price for it, and then you come back a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever, you get it back at a real reasonable price.
So we're very competitive, we hope, on different angles, in different ends, in different articles, computers, electronics, TVs, jewelry. We buy, we give loans, and we also have emphasis on diamond jewelry too, that we also try and give credit for the best we can. We're specialists in that area also, so it's an all-round sort of combination.
Well, it's a great place. It's a nice, clean place with honest people, and I tell you what, it's got a real family feel to it. As a matter of fact, it's tied into the Strauss family, and I go way back with the late, great Jerry. So, these are people I know and people I trust. You can find them on Twitter, too, by the way. They're at Uptown Pond, and also on Facebook, Uptown Pond, and uptownpond.net. Jeff Dubay Show, Wild Wednesday, Burger Mo's. These are not dancing days for the Minnesota Wild. They are not here again. Time to take a look at the standings, Western Conference-wise, especially the wild card and how it breaks down. Guys, the Wild, we're not even going to look at the division standings. Division title, not even in the conversation. When you look at the wild card, the way this team is playing and the issues they have in net, to me, are bigger problems than the standings themselves. You look at the last playoff spot right now, being held by the Winnipeg Jets. Actually, they're a tie with the Kings. I think the Kings are a better team than the Wild. I don't think that's a team that the Wild should set their sights on. Winnipeg, catching and/or passing Winnipeg, I think is doable. Winnipeg, 47 points. You got a few teams you got to leapfrog, Calgary, Dallas, between you and the Jets, but then come the Wild with 41. So down 6 points. However, 2 games in hand. 2 games in hand the Wild have on Winnipeg. Even if you win both, you're still a couple games behind them. But it's a team in your division. It's a team that's on the schedule. It's a team you get some head-to-head opportunities against, and a team that I just still think is slightly better than average. I still believe that if you did not have the meltdowns that you're having everywhere, starting in net, it just started to play a reasonable brand of hockey. I still believe that Winnipeg and the 8th spot are attainable.
I don't know if I can agree with you.
If you weren't melting down, I don't think Winnipeg's running away from anybody.
No, but when are things going to get better?
Well, I don't
want to continue to be negative. Obviously, as a person,
realistic
on this show.
Well, that's exactly. Believe me, it's not fun to go to games and watch what I watched last night. But I'll tell you what, from what I'm seeing and the fact that even with a 2-goal lead, this team just doesn't have the confidence that it's going to win the game. Mm-hmm. It shows that it's not going to be playoff bound. If you cannot play with a lead and be confident enough that you can hold that lead and be confident enough with the team and your goaltending that you will be able to run away with a regulation win.
Right. Well, I'm afraid I was not clear enough in making my point. Like I said, the issues with the team on the ice, in the net, and elsewhere are the issues right now, not the standings. To me, the standings don't intimidate. I see Winnipeg.
No, absolutely.
I see Winnipeg 6 games ahead of you with a couple games in hand for your squad. That doesn't scare me. That doesn't alarm me.
6 points, absolutely not.
Right.
But with the team we have,
but that is the problem.
6 points.
That's the issue.
6 points and the people we have ahead of us.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we have not played Edmonton yet, which all things being the way that they should be, we should be able to take care of Edmonton.
A team that almost took us out of the playoffs late last year in our home ice.
But
remember that? Wasn't that a great? What, we lose 5-1 to them, like next to last game of the season last year?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. My bad.
Then we had to win in Colorado to basically we were tied with them in the standings, but because we had more regulation wins, we took the 8th spot.
The tiebreaker, yeah. Tony, what do you think?
I think you're looking at what's going to change here. During today's tirade on the ice by Yo, and then in the afterglow of him making his angry tough face, we have Mikko Koivu duck off with a lower body injury.
Do we think this is the team?
No.
I mean,
obviously this isn't the team.
That's why I think there's hope that the ship rights itself, because we know that there's more than we're seeing. I mean, I'm the last guy to believe in Darcy Kemper, but he has gone on runs, and then the team has gone on runs along with him, as teams typically do with the hot goaltender. And it's hard for me to believe that the team we have seen to this point is the honest to God representation of what we're putting out on the ice or what we got in that locker room on a game in, game out basis. That's why I have to believe that at some point there's a return to normalcy.
How many games are we in now?
We swung way far to the negative side of this pendulum, but I don't believe that we've seen a representation of what this team is yet.
You're missing Granlund, who was your number one center when he went out, even though he wasn't playing very well. The next 4 games, you have the Blackhawks, you have the Predators, you have the Blackhawks again, and then you have the Penguins. You lose 4 games there, right? Which those are all 4 losable games.
Yeah. I'm just 3 out of 4.
I'm just gonna say that. You look at what can Fletcher do to improve this team. We talked about them needing a guy on the third pair to anchor that pair so that you can play him with Bolin, that you can play him with Dumba. But at this point, what do you even give up? When Chuck Fletcher calls teams right now, who do they ask for? They ask for Jason Zucker. They ask for Nino Niederreiter, right? Your veterans are not scoring right now. The guy that's scoring, Jason Zucker.
Okay, well, here's a rumor. Tell me if you've heard it. Tell me if you think it's got any credibility. Tell me if you think you'd do it. Apparently, again, it's an internet rumor, so it is what it is. But let's just take it at face value if it's accurate. It would be that the Capitals have a little interest in Thomas Vanek, that they'd like to play him alongside Ovechkin. And the offer would be Hillen, two-way defenseman, and a third-round pick.
That's a terrible trade.
I don't like it either.
I mean, Jack Hillen is a guy, he's from Minnesota.
Yes, he is.
So maybe that's why he's in this rumor. But Jack Hillen is a guy who, he's a bottom-of-the-roster guy. So what would you be getting? You would get rid of Vanek's contract and a third-round pick. You need to add to this team. You need to make the playoffs to keep your job.
I agree. But the talk is that there might be an issue in the locker room, and I don't know if I buy that because Vanek trains with these guys every summer, and they're all supposedly tight.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. And I think any trade that would even hit the radar would be somebody for a worthwhile defenseman. I mean, we missed out on that defenseman because of I said the scheduling, because we would have been able to pick up that defense. I mean, all indications are we would have picked up that left-handed defenseman that Dallas got because they were 1 point behind us in the standings at that time. Then we played them. We had our epic defeat, and then.
And being honest about that guy, he's getting put on the waivers by the Phoenix Coyotes, who are awful. I mean, that guy's not going to make a difference here. I just.
Would you play him ahead of Prosser?
Yo wouldn't.
I'm not asking about Yo. I said, would you play him ahead of Prosser?
Sure. I would play anybody ahead of Prosser. I would have not come into the season with Keith Ballard. I would have bought out Keith Ballard. I would have addressed it.
We don't have that issue anymore.
I would have addressed it before it got to this, because Ballard, Prosser, Falk, all of these guys are costing you games, and they're making it so that Ryan Suter plays all of these minutes.
Okay, so you mean you fast forward, eventually Ballard's going to go on LTIR because he's not going to come back.
Yeah, Ballard's not coming back.
He's not coming
Harding's
back.
not coming back. Prosser is serviceable for 4 or 5 game stretches.
We have plenty of money. I mean, by the way, we haven't brought up the sad news about CapGeek going down. That was bad news in my world.
Who?
CapGeek.com is no longer in service.
CapGeek is
really?
amazing.
Yep,
yeah.
it's gone.
You just turned me on to that. What happened to it?
Sadly, I think the developer of the website had some health issues and decided to
shut it down.
Collapse the site, which I always followed that to see what kind of cap space we had at any given time. Now, that being said, My point is we have lots of cap space.
Sure.
Where are we going to get the talent? Who the hell knows? Because any trade, like you said, is going to involve somebody who has some merit, some worth. And at this point, I ask you this. Would you trade a Jason Zucker or somebody of the like for a worthwhile goaltender with another piece?
I mean, they have to take Nicholas Backstrom in the deal. So
why? I mean, for right now,
why do you have to? Because
you buy him out next year.
No, you have Darcy Kemper on a one-way contract. You have Nicholas Backstrom on a one-way contract.
It's just money.
You can't carry 3 goalies. You can't do it. Just cannot do it. It just doesn't make sense. You can't have 3 goalies on the roster.
Okay, so you include them in the trade and you just eat the money.
And then that makes it make sense to give up Jason Zucker or Nino Niederreiter. What I'd rather have happen, I'd rather have them trade Charlie Coyle. Charlie Coyle is a failed dream. He's a flicker in the eyes of Yo and Fletcher, who played him in the top 6 over Nino Niederreiter, far past his expiration date. What does he have? He has 3 goals on the season.
He's a third-line grinder.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And he was supposed to be the return on Brett Burns, and it looks bad. It looks so bad right now. And
well, it's the only return on Brett Burns because
not only that,
because Setaguchi is long gone and
fat
Gucci,
Gucci,
and the other
and Zach Phillips,
and the other piece is where is he?
Zach Phillips.
Does he have a blip on the radar?
He's with the Baby Wild playing like 4th line minutes, which is embarrassing.
Mediocre at best.
And you look at it.
It is negativity. It's just negativity.
Well, it is what it is.
It's so bad. You know why it's negativity? Because they're leveraged. Not only did they just have another December collapse, which Yo is known for, right? But they're leveraged. Everybody knows that you need a goaltender, right? So who are they asking for? They're not going to give you a moment of any sort of pity. They're going to leverage you. So if you want to get Tokarski, if you want to get a guy out of Buffalo like Enroth, if you want to get Antti Ranta from Chicago. These are all guys that show up on the radar and then everybody's excited about it. You think Chicago's going to trade us a goalie in division, not kill us in the deal? Do you think that anybody's going to take Backstrom and not kill us in the deal? I mean, gone are the days that you can make a bad trade as a GM and then not have to hear about it. Nowadays, on Twitter, on the internet, like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, you get savage.
And I'm sure Fletcher's gun shy because of the whole Nick Leddy thing. I mean, that probably haunts him in his dreams because every time Nick Leddy probably does anything remotely good, it's like, oh, here we go again. It's the Leddy trade. Blah, blah, blah. It's like it never goes away. Now I ask you this: do you think Stalock is worth anything?
I mean, sure he is. To San Jose, because what do you give them? For Fletcher to make a trade for a goaltender, he has to do something with Backstrom. Backstrom's contract, because he's 36 years old, fully guaranteed, right? Can't use a compliance buyout on him. He also has a no-move clause, right? So if Backstrom's the one that swings and yields the power.
Okay, I'm gonna reverse this. So all of a sudden you're throwing Kemper in the mix because we all think that Kemper would get taken if he put on waivers.
Sure.
So let's leave Backstrom away from this, and he's our backup.
Okay.
So we're gonna leave him on the roster, making his 3.2, whatever the hell he's making.
You put Kemper in a deal?
You put Kemper in a deal
sure.
and somebody else for a decent goaltender. He's your starter. Backstrom's your backup.
Man, I would do it. I would do it. I think at this point, I think Fletcher would do it.
What do
too.
you have to lose?
Well, what's Kemper's value?
I mean, shit. What do you have to lose at this
What's
point?
Kemper's value?
Nothing.
I think he has some value to some teams because if you position it right
on
waivers
he has value.
But then you're ditching a goalie.
Sure.
My point is, like, if you're getting a goalie that has good value and is young and is going to turn out to be a good goalie or has already established himself, then what does it matter? So you're ditching a goalie contract that is on a 2-year. Oh well.
Yep.
And then you're also having a goaltender that's going to be your starter. Backstrom's your backup, and then what do you have to give away? You give away a Zucker who's also on a 2-year.
Yep. Well, and it's completely relevant. I think for you to mention Kemper in the trade, I think that's how you make a major deal to try to get back into this race. Most likely, what happens is because you can't trade Koivu, because you can't trade Pominville.
No, I don't. Here's the thing. I'm confident if you fix the back end, if you fix the goalie problem,
yes,
I am absolutely. And I said this before the show. playing hockey, I know how it feels to have a garbage goaltender because you know at some point.
Like not you, but you know a garbage goaltender because you had Ben Braun, right?
Ben Bauer. Ben Bauer was good.
Yes.
But I was a
hope he's not
defenseman,
listening.
so I tell you what.
Ben Bauer better listen.
If you know the fact that like your goaltender isn't going to do anything for you, it's a trickle-down effect. You know it's a matter of time before there's going to be a softie or something else is going to happen, and it doesn't matter if you score 3-4 goals, that he'll probably let in the equal. So it's a mental thing. You get somebody who's going to steal games for you, and I'll tell you what, you're going to see a complete attitude turnaround on this team.
You know what's so weird about this moment in time, right?
That was my piece right there.
You know what?
well done.
And it makes sense. What's so weird about this moment in time is that Chuck Fletcher has to do something. Otherwise, he could find his way out the door, even though they've done an excellent job of rebuilding this franchise and rebuilding the brand of hockey. Because this is a season with elevated expectations, and they're staring down the barrel of missing the playoffs.
But the one big thing is goaltending, and unfortunately, the problem happened a couple years ago.
But nobody's going to trade you a goalie. Nobody's going to trade you a goalie unless you come up with a guy besides Darcy Kemper, right? So what he's going to have to do is he's going to have.
I would do Darcy Kemper and package him with Coyle or Zucker to get somebody decent.
But you have to look at Chuck Fletcher in the way that he's moved, right? He's avoided giving up anything that he didn't want to give up that would hurt the franchise in these trades. The Molson trade, the Pominville trade. If you look at what he gave up in those trades, it was insignificant pieces. Now we're staring down the barrel of him being leveraged and him having to give up something big. I'm not sure if he pulls the trigger. I think the next move is probably Mike Yeo gets fired.
But what do you mean? What are you talking about? In the minors, we have depth. I mean, we have.
Who's the depth in the minors?
Not great. Grayovac, I think, is going to be decent depth.
So I like Grayovac, but Grayovac is a difference maker.
Well, he might not be, but I'll tell you what, if it's a matter of worrying about having pieces to the puzzle that's going to backfill, we have people that can play fourth line minutes and move like a Fontaine up to a third line, or something similar.
But we also have a bunch of failed prospects too. I mean,
agreed.
We gave up this year on Tyler Kuma. Zach Phillips is a failed prospect. Jordan Schrader is a guy he's getting points down there, but he was given up by the Canucks. And he's an undersized guy who hasn't translated to the NHL. I mean, you look at Dumba. Dumba's a good guy, but Yeo doesn't play him.
Dumba made the All-Star game.
Dumba made the All-Star game, which is laughable because he's only played so many games. Although he's been a point-a-player game, but he doesn't play. He didn't play when he was up here.
Did Danny Heatley make the All-Star game for the Miners?
I think so.
That was a joke.
Captain Morgan, sponsored by Captain Morgan.
What a dick.
The kids down there, they have a collection of free agents that they signed out of Canadian juniors, and they have a second-round pick, Rafael Bucieris, who's playing in the ECHL for like the Alaskan Aces right now. That's another failed. I mean, I have obscure prospect references because I follow them completely.
Funny story is I was actually down in Sioux Falls over the holidays, the same game that I missed up here, the 27th, and I saw some high school hockey prospects playing for the Stampede and the Fargo Force.
Okay,
awesome. One a former Hill Murray alum.
It's time for some bizarre statistics. I want you guys to try to guess right now who's the team leader in penalty minutes.
Stu Bickle.
Yes! How many games do you think he's played?
Well, Stu Bickle also set the record for the team with 39 minutes. By the way,
he's got 9 games played.
That was atrocious. The fact that Daly is holding him from behind and the other guy is straight hitting him in the face, and Daly does not get a penalty. If he would have got injured, and I tweeted about this, if he would have got injured, does NHL player like safety do anything about the fact that another guy is holding him back and somebody is just beating him in the face?
I think it's hilarious. He's got.
Of course they don't.
They don't care.
He's got 46 penalty minutes in 9 games, the second most on the team. 42 penalty minutes for Scandella, who's played 34 games.
Oh,
so
I mean,
a little differential there.
When you put 39 minutes up in one game, that's gonna elevate.
Those are average.
Okay, now here's some more stats for you, and it's just me playing devil's advocate because I know that figures lie and liars figure. I mean, you can make numbers say whatever you want, but the constant attacks, the targets of our angst on this show, are 4 of the top 5 scorers. I mean, Pominville leads the team in scoring. Vanek is 3rd, Suter's 4th, Koivu is 5th. The only one in the top 5 that we don't bitch about,
You're talking about
is
points.
Parisi. I'm talking about points.
Points, not scoring.
I'm talking about points.
The scoring, there's a 3-way tie between Zucker, Nino, and Parisi.
But but you know what? We sit here and verbally fillet Niederreiter on a game-by-game basis, and he's a minus 14, by far the worst on the team.
Yep.
And he's got 4 assists. I mean, there's something wrong with that.
Are they also playing him on the penalty kill, though?
That doesn't matter. Plus minus is a 5-on-5 even strength stat.
But Nino hasn't played top 6 minutes all year. He's been playing with Brodziak as his center. Like, what are we talking about?
I guess I'll correct myself. Not penalty kill, but is he playing against the other team's top lines? What is Eric Hollis? What's Eric Hollis plus minus?
Do you think other teams put their top checkers out against Nino Niederreiter?
No, they're top lines.
Okay.
So if he's rolling the third line, is he rolling against other teams' top lines?
I mean, obviously, we'd have to go back and break down hours of film to tell you who's playing against who.
We don't got time for that.
You asked me about this team. I'll just tell you that the pieces don't fit. Like, they're certainly talented. They certainly have a talented veteran core of guys, and I like the female dog about Jason Pominville a lot. That guy's talented. I like to
that Mitch?
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
I like to take shots at Captain Koivu, especially for his atrocious game last night, where all he did was fall down, bobble the puck, take bad penalties, lose half of the face-offs he took.
One of only a handful of players on this team with a positive plus minus.
Yes,
he's a plus 2.
And so,
but we kill him all the time. He's a plus 2. There aren't many guys plus on this team.
There are things that Captain Koivu does good. I think he's certainly talented. I don't think you can replace him with anybody in free agency this past offseason, and you can't trade him for anything because he has more value to us than he does to anybody else. But I would much rather have David Backes than Mikko Koivu, and I wrote it on Twitter, and I knew I'd probably get savaged by Wild loyalists, but David Backes is a guy that is producing points, that shows passion, that calls out teammates, that drives it, and Mikko Koivu is a guy that gets this passive-aggressive pass, and he's Teflon here, and if you call out Mikko Koivu for anything, people will mention how good he is at defense.
Yeah, but that's the
so
thing.
What?
Like, it's
so what?
It's basically
What do you mean, so what?
misplaced.
So what?
It's misplaced.
It hasn't
role.
done us much good.
It hasn't done us much good.
What his role should be is he should be basically a defensive center on like a second or third line.
Yep.
That's what he should be. He should not be a captain.
He
should not be a captain.
Well, I can't say he can't be a captain and have that same role.
I don't think so because he's not. I don't think he's.
Well, we all know Parisi's your
Well,
captain.
He's not any sort of leader in the locker room. He's not going to be vocal.
Do we know that?
And he's
Do we know
not.
that
And
we're
he's
not in the
not
room?
bringing any offensive piece to his game.
Okay, two issues with that. Number one, we don't know what's going on in the room, and number two, Lou Nanne on the
think-
John Dubay show last year told me what a joke the C is. He said it couldn't mean less. Nobody cares who wears the C. Nobody in the locker room gives a shit.
No, Wild used to do that every
Nobody
month.
gives a shit.
Nobody.
Then what is? If nobody gives a shit, then why not take it away from him?
Well, you have to have somebody wear it.
Not only that,
Zach
No, but that's a good point.
Well, whatever.
To then take it away from
Well,
no big deal.
why make waves for something that means nothing?
who would take it away from him? It's not Mike Yeo that's going to take it
That's
away
my
from
point.
him.
Is if you take it away
Double
from him,
S. Double
I
S.
think
You'd have
people
to
make
come
too big deal out of
down
something
from.
like
You'd have
this.
to come down from your season tickets and take it off
Nanny
his chest.
said nobody
because
cared.
Mike Yeo was never going to do that.
He said they knew who to follow. They know who to follow.
Mike Yeo won't even take him off the power play.
that's the problem. I would say do
I
all
agree.
the above.
I agree. I've written about it many times. Mike Yeo doesn't hold these guys accountable.
But the reason he's not taking him off the power play is because of that letter on his jersey.
But again,
sure. And the perception and the fact, and you said it.
I guarantee if he didn't have the captain's patch, he would not be playing the roles that he has.
Mike Yeo is playing
captain patch or not.
Mike Yeo is playing defense for his job, and he's playing politics, and he's never going to call out Mikko Koivu. Even when it looked like he called out Mikko Koivu and benched him, then they backtracked and they said it was sickness.
But you completely dismiss what he does defensively. That's not right.
That's my point. Is if he can do what he does defensively.
No, we pointed it out. Tony just said, I don't care. I don't care what he does defensively. But you got to care.
I can show you examples of him not being where he's supposed to be because he's missing a step in his skating, giving up goals.
He's still a +2.
I think he has
plus minus is the most ridiculous.
Really? Because who leads the team? Who leads the team in plus minus?
Probably Pominville.
Zach Parise. So does that not validate the stat a little bit?
No.
Really?
No.
He's tied with Jonas Brodin. Does that not validate the stat a little bit?
That line drives possession. So of course they're gonna have a good plus minus, but they're not winning games.
But there were times in the playoffs last year where he went out and he raced some top guys on Chicago. I mean, he really did. I mean, I remember.
Who did? Koivu?
Yes, absolutely. In the playoffs, he did.
But Koivu disappears in the playoffs offensively. He adds nothing to a team.
Well, it's not his prowess. He's not an offensive.
Yeah, I don't know.
guy.
People keep wanting to make him into something he's never
But you're
been.
paying him so much money, and you're locked into him, and you can't move him. You're completely committed to this guy as your franchise player, and he's not a franchise player. That's my whole point of contention.
If he accepts his role as like a
accepts his role. I like say it again. Accepts his role. You know what Mikko Koivu accepts? Nothing, because he doesn't have to accept anything. Who calls him out?
I guess. I mean, but the point is, if he would accept the role that he should be playing, and not, then people wouldn't destroy him for his offensive deficiencies. Nobody would have a problem with it. But the fact that if people are expecting him to be the goal scorer, then they're going to have a problem with him. And he shouldn't be on the power play. He shouldn't be on. He should be our penalty kill guy. He should be basically do the things that he can do, but you can't. You have to make it look good. And I will say that is on Yo. I will say that.
That's why I don't understand all the angst directed at Koivu. I mean, is he on the power play because he put himself on the power play? I mean,
don't you think that would piss him off if he yanked him?
I mean, but I don't know.
I don't think he would care.
I don't know what kind of a guy
I don't think he would care. Why would he
I
care?
feel like he's got a sensitive ego. I feel like that's the reason he's been treated the way he has been for years.
Well, wait a second.
We're
always hearing about this angry Finn. As soon as he gets mad, once the buttons have been pushed, which are,
that's
apparently
true.
they're not easy buttons to get to.
That's a true thing, because both, not only if you see it in a game, but Russo over the years have pushed those buttons, and he's talked about
they're well protected buttons.
The angry face of the Finn.
But when Koivu's pissed, he is a much different and better player. I don't know who Koivu is, but Koivu.
I like it.
He knew.
I like it. And you know what though? He's a much better player for what? One game, a stretch of time in a game.
No, usually it's for about 15 minutes in a game.
15 minutes, yeah. You don't pull Koivu from the power play, right? The top power play, but then you say his game's not to be offensive. So then why is he on the power play? I mean, there's a lot of. I'll never deny that he's a talented player. He's not a franchise player. There's about every team has a guy that I would take over him, except for maybe about a handful, maybe about 5. But I would certainly take Jonathan Taves over him. I would certainly take Claude Giroux over him. I would certainly take.
Well, you're picking some high-skilled players.
That's again a no shit.
I'm also calling out franchise guys. If Mikko Koivu is your franchise guy, if he's your captain, if he's Teflon, right, then he should elevate your team instead of just limiting other people from scoring with his defense.
If Koivu gets power play time, it should all be spent within 5 to 10 feet of the net. I mean, he's a guy who should just do nothing but create traffic and get garbage. And he can. I think he's reasonably adept at that. He can do those things. He's big enough that he can be a little bit of a force in front. He's not the easiest guy in the world to move. I'm not saying he's not that skilled at getting a stick on things. I mean, like Vanek, we talked about before the season started. Does anybody get a stick on more garbage than Vanek in front of the net? Well, apparently people do. But that had been his calling card. But I mean, I know that's not exactly Koivu's calling card. But I don't want him out on the point. I don't want him out at the half wall. I mean, if he's going to be on the power play, he's got to be out front, just causing trouble and looking for garbage.
So you're talking about maybe put him on the second power play at that point. The first power play, Vanek should be in front of the net playing that role. Mm-hmm. On your wings, you should have people that are mobile, people that are moving and cycling the puck. If you watch any good team, it doesn't matter if on the power play or not.
Well,
they're cycling like crazy.
Granlund's your best half wall guy, don't you think? On the power play, I think Granlund's your best half wall guy.
And he's a good setup guy. And
he's
Koivu,
your number one distributor of the puck.
Yeah.
And the one thing is Coyle has very good possession skills with the puck. He showed that in the past. He has good possession skills.
Along the wall.
Yes.
Well,
along the wall only.
But I think he could be the role that I just put Koivu in on the power play. I think Coyle is at 6 1/2 dozen of the other. I mean, you can put him on in Koivu's spot on the second power play in front too. Vanek's got to be on the first.
Yes.
But Coyle or Koivu flip a coin on the second.
If you watch a Mikko Koivu shift when he has the puck, it's all perimeter. It's a lot of possession. To watch him turn the puck over to nobody. There's not a shot generated. Very, very rarely does he create offense. The lightning rod issue with Thomas Vanek is that he's not shooting the puck, but Thomas Vanek is creating offense. The best was that you have this MVC crew do the game, right? I was at home. Scott Swipes was in the building.
I was looking over at Pierre. I saw his bald head and glasses like between the players.
And he was a regular on the Judd Dubay show, not PA Dubay, on the Judd Dubay show a couple years ago. We loved him. Great guy.
Great.
And what that crew doesn't, they keep saying that Vanek is not a playmaker. He should shoot the puck. And I loved that they were calling him out for not shooting the puck. I hated that they haven't watched enough of the Wild games to see that he's been setting up goals. He's been creating offense with his passing.
They're only watching the Wild when it's like 5 minutes before they have to go on the
air. Which is why they were so excited about Charlie Coyle. Like, what is Charlie Coyle doing to be excited about, man? It's all reputation, no substance.
Well, here's the other thing. When you put somebody out front, like we're talking about throwing Koivu out there, Coyle out there, it's not just somebody who's got a big enough body to be a pain in the ass. I mean, there's a skill involved to being a good power forward. I mean, you got to have some hands. I mean, some guys just have a knack for getting a stick on things and deflecting things. I mean,
well, you got to be big enough body so you're not getting pushed up by a defenseman either.
Well, and there's an attitude that goes there
I
too.
think if I was gonna build the template for the power forward in today's NHL, the guy in Boston,
Milan
Lucic.
Yes,
Lucic,
there he is. I mean, is that not the template?
By the way, they say he could possibly be on the trade block if the Bruins continue to go down.
Sure.
Really, they got cap issues or what?
I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, well, a lot of teams would.
Yeah,
You know,
competition.
I know those Eastern Euros. They don't care till after Christmas.
I know this Minnesota Wild fan base is probably like close to suicide watch, and I know it's been a negative ass take on everything, but the Bruins are right there with us, man.
Oh yeah,
The two hockey hotbeds in North America, or
and
in
make
America,
a point.
I should say.
They have a goalie.
I know.
Yeah.
So
And
if they're
they-
doing garbage and they have a goalie that is top notch.
All right, well, let's take our last break. We'll come back and wrap it up.
Hi, I'm Terry Daniel, and I've been a voice actor in Minneapolis for over 2 decades now. How often are you getting compliments on your voice? Now is the time to do something about it. If you're interested in getting into voiceovers, please contact me via my website at universalvoicetalent.com.
Folks who've listened to the show, they know that I lived in the Uptown area here, right down Pleasant Avenue, as a matter of fact, and on the corner of Pleasant Lake is where Uptown Pond is. And I have been here numerous times, had numerous business dealings with them. It's just a nice place with good, honest people. Bob Jacobson, the owner, you run the place. You've always been good to me.
Thanks, Jeff. We try. That's part of our business. We're here to help people, and so everybody walks in the door. We hope we can help.
Well, what I've always appreciated is when people are nice to people who are the low man on the totem pole. Like when I was a bat boy, I like the star guys who are nice to the bat boy.
Right.
And I mean, I came in here and you guys didn't know who I was. You didn't know I had a radio show, and you treated me great. I mean, just a guy off the street.
Listen, that's the idea with I think a smaller family type business. Somebody walks in the door. We don't want to let them see everybody gets treated the same way, and we hope that's the case. And we don't want to see them leave without. We try our very best.
It's really easy. It's easy. It's low pressure. Good, honest people. Right on the corner of Lake Street and Pleasant Avenue. You guys got to check out Uptown Pond. It's a Wild Wednesday on the Jeff Dubay Show. Happy to be here at Burger Mo's, a fantastic host for the show. Quick rundown of some of the things going on the Alive and Social Network. I bring it up because Jason McGovern's got a pubcast coming up here right after this program.
Absolutely, with Molly Burke making her return. Now she's got car issues tonight.
No way!
But she's going to be here. She'll
Come
be
on,
here.
she's got to be here.
I'll go to her house if I have to.
So the rumor is that Molly Burke, the long-awaited return coming up. The pubcast, Suhan Unfiltered. As a matter of fact, as we speak, Suhan's doing a show at the local with Terry Ryan, live and in person.
Another shitty guest.
Yeah,
he can't
struggles
get
to get the guest.
I feel badly for him.
So when you're done listening to this show, go and check out SuhanUnfiltered.com, or else just go to Spreaker and check out the Alive and Social stable. Really,
there you go.
You go to Alive and Social, and then it'll list all the shows. There's the Great Northern Sex Cast with Kelly Guest. There's the
Rusty Gateby Review.
Rusty Gateby Review. The Wednesday Night Music Showcase. The Friday Night O'Gara's live karaoke. The pubcast. This show.
I think you nailed most of it.
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot there. Just go to Spreaker, Spreaker.com, and look up do a search for Alive and Social, and it will list everything in the Alive and Social stable, and it's quite a stable these days.
Is there?
Or
Would
you
you
just
ever
fuck it all and just go to JeffDubay.com and just listen to this show all day. I mean, we've got like almost 50 episodes now, so you could really you have like a Netflix like weekend marathon of just listening to the Jeff Dubay show to get caught up. Yeah.
I'm gonna use my aggressive confrontation nature and get Suhan and Russo to lock into
I
a
saw
little
you
wild,
trying to start
Wild
something.
Wednesday meets Suhan Unfiltered.
Because you and Russo get along. You're not trying to stir it up. You're not trying to cause a rift in the Alive and Social Network. Are you?
No, you know what I want to do? I
don't have any idea.
I want it, and it's better that way, right?
Yes.
Like in my grand scheme of plans, what I'd like to do.
Now that I hear you've been harassing the mentally challenged on the streets of St. Paul.
That's not true. All I ever do is care about feelings, right? So
I can just see Corky on the ground going, "Don't shoot, don't shoot."
My God.
Being that all I ever do is care about feelings, what I'd like to do. That's so good. Well played.
I'm going to render.
That's aggressive. Whatever I did is not worse than the thing that you just did, sir. Like I know how politically correctness works, and for you to be as entertained with yourself as you are now, I think that makes you the bad guy in this scenario. Like I feel
All right,
so much
we got
better.
a crowd with pitchforks outside.
All right.
So,
all right, bring it back.
What I would like to have happen, though, is a little bit of cross-promotion for Suhan for Wild Wednesdays, and then you get Russo in a room, and then you can ask him a couple questions. I think that's a great idea.
Oh, God, I would
I
love
think
it.
we'd get in
I'd love it
trouble
if
with
Russo was here.
I think we'd get in trouble with Russo.
Well, everybody, I didn't give it.
Wow.
That's aggressive.
Now we get aggressive.
You guys,
I'm the
Everybody's
least
cut off.
aggressive.
Everybody's
What's
cut
going on
off.
with everybody? Jeez.
Well played.
McGovern's making fun of Corky from Life Goes On.
I'm the only one not fucking up
Redirection.
right now.
Redirection.
Jesus.
He was one toe in the water, and then he dipped it out.
All right, so we got a home game tomorrow against the Hawks, and a home game Saturday against Nashville. How important is it that we get 4? Well, I guess it doesn't matter if we give up cheapies to Chicago. I mean, we're never going to catch Chicago. I just want 4 points here. I don't care how they come. They can come in multiple shootouts.
Honestly, if we split the next 4, 2 and 2, I think that would be a positive. If we took 2 of the next 4 in regulation, or even took 2 points out of the next 4 games, I think it probably would be.
And I don't want to say that there's ever an easy part to the schedule, especially when you are shitty. I mean, it is what it is. But February, there's some opportunities for points coming up. I mean, late in January, you got a stretch with Buffalo, Arizona, Columbus, Detroit, Edmonton, Calgary. You get into February, you got Colorado, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Florida, Carolina, Vancouver, Calgary. I mean, it's not murderer's row. I mean, late January through February, not murderer's row.
We haven't played any of them yet this year. We have not played Calgary. We haven't played Vancouver. We haven't played Edmonton. And typicly we have good records against them.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that could be somehow maybe a turning point, that we get a little bit of lift confidence-wise in there. Maybe Fletcher tunes in and takes our advice and pulls some sort of miraculous goalie trade, and we're back in the mix.
I mean, the truth is, this team hasn't played bad. I mean, they played bad in December, but they didn't play bad in October and November. They played actually very well, and they outplayed teams a bunch.
Well, the difference was the goaltending bottomed out.
But they've given up leads. They've collapsed.
That has nothing to do with goaltending.
They've left a lot of points on the board.
They've
given up 2 points many times this year, and having done that in a division that's loaded, when are you going to dig out of the hole? What are you going to win in this 4-game stretch? Are you going to win 3 of 4? That'd be amazing if they did that.
You think Mike Yeo cries in the basement?
I think he does. No, Mike Yeo makes an angry, tough face from the bench that nobody cares about, is what he does.
Yeah, but deep down inside, he's crying in the basement.
He should be.
I'm the last person to have faith in Darcy Kemper. I mean, I just cannot stand. I mean, this guy he's getting pulled out of almost half of his starts over the last month and a half, which is just. It's unthinkable. I mean, to have a goaltender. I mean, it's almost like we have to take a baseball approach. We don't think guys gonna be good for about 2. Make sure you got loose. We get the middle innings. I mean,
you need Schwarzak up in the pen.
It's ridiculous. But having said that, he's capable of playing well. I mean, we've seen him play well. I'm not going to put faith in him. I'm not going to believe in him. But I'm going to believe in the possibility that he can be better than he's been, because this isn't even IHL quality goaltender, AHL, NAHL, whatever. This is not KHL. This is unacceptable high school goaltending. So I'm going to believe that he's capable of more. I've seen that he can do better. And if he could knowing that he's a goaltender, by the way, whose entire game is confidence based. Or confidence, torn down. Yeah, I mean, if he could just put together a little string against some of this maybe more vulnerable competition, if it's possible that he could find his game, then this team could make a run.
Is there a role for coaching in that? And I don't even mean Yo, but I mean like the goaltender's coach. Is that
Bob Mason is the goalie coach?
But there's nothing fundamentally wrong with him, is there? He's just an idiot. Not Mason, Kemper.
But yeah.
Oh, but I mean, if you go to a person, and it's just reflective of a goalie who really should be down in the minors still. He has not matured enough.
He's very young.
You have goalies that play until they're in their 40s.
Give him a post-traumatic suggestion that when he hears the State of Hockey song and he sees the kid stick a flag in the middle of center ice, that all of a sudden he becomes, Tony Esposito.
It just triggers
Esposito. You are Ken Dryden.
On Wild Wednesday, we decided Darcy Kemper needs Miss Cleo. That's our solution.
By the way,
what are we talking about?
Dude, here's something we got coming up.
Like positivity somehow, though.
Now we haven't made all the details on this, but try to keep Saturday, March 21st open on your dockets, because our good friends over at.
Are we having a party?
Well, I got an email from our friend Sean Hagelin over at. What's it called in Ridgedale?
I love that place.
We were just
Fan HQ.
I would say Fan Zone, but I knew it wasn't right. Fan HQ.
Right.
Fan HQ. They've got like a rock and jock thing going on. They call it it's coming up on Saturday the 21st, where they are going to have the coolest feature they've got going on there is they are trying to get live and in person every Minnesota North Star goaltender that played at least 100 games.
Love it.
So the only two they're still waiting to hear on.
John Casey?
No, they got Casey. They got Casey. I should get the email open. They got Casey. They got Beaupre. They've got Maniago. They've got Lepresti. Gumpa is no longer with us, I believe. Correct? Isn't he to the great beyond? I don't. But I think Kari Taco might be. I think Taco and Gilles Melange were the two that they're still working on. But I mean, the list was kind of cool. I mean, when I was a kid, there was nobody cooler than Cesar Maniago. I suppose none of you guys even can remember. But I mean, he was like my first hockey idol. I mean, when I was a little kid, because he was so cool about him. Besides his name, I mean, Cesar Maniago. That's pretty cool.
You don't hear a lot of Cesars in the old NHL.
No, but I mean, he would take his mask. When he put his mask on, he'd pull it down, halfway down his face, and then push it back up. So he always had like the hair sticking up, like almost like spiky bangs. He was almost like 40 years ahead of his time with like the gelled up spiky bangs.
Yeah.
I mean, but that was his. I mean, go and Google some pictures of him. It's just. As a little kid, he was just a cool goalie who got his hair pushed up by his mask. And none of you have any memories of Cesar Maniago.
Not at all.
So the name Pete Lepresti means nothing to any of you either.
I know Beaupre and I grew up with Casey.
Yep. Beaupre and Casey. Totally, but nobody else.
Well, I'm going to get to the email here and see if I can get a couple of names for you before the show ends. But would you be down for doing a Saturday afternoon hour at Fan HQ in Ridgedale?
I think Fan HQ is awesome. I was so heartbroken over missing the Vanek show from there.
You get to meet some of your idols.
I'm in, and I'm a North Stars. I go back to the North Stars.
Here's what they got. They've got confirmed Cesar Maniago, John Casey, John Beaupre, Pete Lepresti. Waiting to hear from Gilles Melange and Kari Taco.
What time is it?
It is Saturday the 21st.
Wild play at 1.
There's no way I will be there.
I don't know.
Yeah,
he does not give a time. He does not give a time. I mean, this is in the planning stages, so you don't have to put it down in ink yet.
All right, but the Wild play at 1. If we did it before or after, I'd be down.
Okay, so you got tickets for the game.
After, I'm gonna go to the game.
All right.
They play the Nasty Blues.
But we'll talk to them. We'll figure it all out. But Casey Lepresti. Maniago, all confirmed at this point, and Beaupre, all confirmed at this point. All right, guys, closing thoughts. We head into the week that will be, as I belch into the microphone. Maybe that's fitting. But the week that will be for the Minnesota Wild starts with the game against the Chicago Blackhawks here on Thursday, and then Saturday here against Nashville, a team that is inexplicably looking at us in their rearview mirror. So what do you expect in the week? Then by the way, we turn around, travel to Chicago on a back-to-back, and then to Pittsburgh. So not a fun
real
week.
good.
Not an easy week. And then we're back here the day after that Pittsburgh game.
What do we do? All positive?
Well, I'm sure Yo has them all just ready to go now with that whole tirade today. So.
Mike Yo storms off the ice. They win 4 in a row for Mike Yo. Yo knows best.
Jesus.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time. That's what it is.
What are you, Ducky or Bunny? Which one are you?
Die for 4 in a row.
Yeah, well.
I just want to give Schweitz the chance to be the negative one in the prediction.
I'm always the negative one.
We don't need.
Should have saw me last night, man. I was like destroyed after we went down from up to nothing and then just collapsed, especially off the stanchion. Again off the stanchion. Come on. Let's get back to the seamless glass, for God's sake. I'm sick of this.
Yeah,
the seamless glass scrambles brains. I mean, there's no gift. There's no gift to it. That's why they got rid of it. I mean, you've been on the ice. I mean, that stuff doesn't move at all.
No,
it does not. I mean,
But they got to find a better way. I mean, we've had now like 2 or 3 goals, especially that one in the playoffs. I mean, the stanchions are bad news.
They are, but I mean, I think that they started to see what's going on in NFL and started worrying about lawsuits. And I mean, I'm telling you that seamless glass has no gift. It even sounds different when the puck hits it.
It was negative, but I think we can, if we can get ourselves together and our goalies can have some positive outings. I mean, I think we could take 2 of 4.
All right, well, I mean,
which would do shit for them.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you got to do better than tread water. I mean, I get it. I mean, when you're underwater and gasping for breath, treading water sounds.
You got to tread water against these teams.
Yeah,
that's true. And then win when you got a chance. Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, we always tend to think that it's getting late. Late early, and we start hitting panic buttons. But teams make some late charges in the NHL and get into the playoffs, and it is just barely into January. I mean, there's almost 3 months of regular season left here, 3 at least. I mean, Knowing how streaky and unpredictable this team is and how streaky and unpredictable its goaltending can be, I'm certainly not optimistic. But, I mean, if things can swing so bad in one direction, they can swing just as far in the opposite direction. So
a lot of ground to make up. That's the thing.
The best thing for this franchise is that they're selling out their building. They're sold out for the rest of the year. They're getting 19,000, 18 plus in the building every night.
Well,
they better do something.
All right, boys.
Fletcher better create some magic, man.
Well, will we see you both here next Wednesday?
Oh, yeah.
In.
Nice. Look at that. We got full strength back-to-back weeks. Always we're not debatable. For Jason McGovern, Scott Schweitz, and Tony Dean, it's been another Wild Wednesday. Thanks for listening.
Truly